Welcome back, Bulls fans. I've got a really, really fun prospect to talk about today, and that's Nick Martinelli. I have some strengths of his, some weaknesses of his, and even a comparison that I think suits him fairly well. But before I get too deep into talking about him, I want to know, are you guys excited for this rebuild? I know I am, but I want to know if you guys are. If you are, hit that like and hype button down below for me. Now, Nick, really fun prospect. I think a lot of you guys will fall in love with Nick as a prospect the same way I did. And I'm really excited to share this with you today. Now, Nick is a 22-year-old senior out of Northwestern and also from Glenview. So he's not just a kid who went to college in the area, he's born and raised in the area. He will probably play small forward at the NBA level. At least I think he will. He's 6'7" with a 6'10" wingspan. His stats this year were 23 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, 2 assists, 0.4 blocks, and 0.8 steals per game in 35.6 minutes per game. And I've had the luxury of being able to watch Nick because I'm a Northwestern fan, and it's just incredible watching him because he's the type of guy where he doesn't care what the task is. Just give him a task, he will do it to the best of his abilities. Like last year, tons of injuries to a lot of top guys. So Nick got handed the keys to the offense pretty early in the season. And he went on to be the leading scorer of the Big Ten and lead us to a pretty good season given the circumstances. And just an incredible scorer. As you saw, 23 points per game this year. Last year, he averaged 20.6. And, I mean, he's the type of player where he knows what his spots are, and he doesn't care if you're in his way. He's going to get to his spot. And once he gets to his spot, he's going to shoot the ball, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's going in. Like it showed here, 51% from the field this year, 53% from inside the arc, and 42% from outside the arc. And I mean, it doesn't get much more efficient than that as someone who is taking almost 15 shots a game. Like, it's one thing to be shooting with high volume. It's another thing to be shooting on high volume and still knocking them down at an elite clip. And that's exactly what Nick did this year. And he could just be such a fun element to this offense because he's so unorthodox. It's kind of hard to get a read on him sometimes. So having someone that you can't fully read on offense adds another layer to your offense inherently. And it's just going to be really fun seeing how this plays out for him. Now, some strengths of his. First off, very much scoring. Anything scoring, really. But especially that mid-range and that post scoring. As I said, he shot 53.3% from inside the arc. I mean, for someone who is taking 13 shots a game from two, having a 2-point percentage of 53% is pretty crazy, if you ask me. Because not all of them are right at the rim. He really spread them out throughout 2-point land, but yeah, he's just a natural born scorer. Like sometimes he will back you down and do this little floppy hook shot that he has, his little left-handed floppy hook, and it's one of those where you're like, what is he throwing up? And then you're like, I don't care what he's throwing up, it's going in. And sometimes he will size a player up and then just shoot a little mid-range two that just gets laced. And it's just really fun watching him score Like those natural born scorers are always so fun to watch. And Nick may not get his points in the same way as other natural born scorers, like let's say a Luka Doncic or like a Jalen Brunson. He's not scoring like them. He's a lot more unorthodox with it, a lot more herky jerky kind of. Is he going to go back them down? Is he going to pop a mid range? Every now and then he might pop a three, but one way or another, he knows where his spots on the court are, and he knows how to score effectively and efficiently from them. Now, another one is his toughness. There aren't many guys out there as tough as Nick. I mean, he averaged, as it says here, as I said before, 35.6 minutes per game this year and 37.6 per game last year. In a 40-minute game, he played at the least, was averaging 4 minutes on the bench, 5 minutes on the bench. Like, it's really hard to find toughness like that. Like, in a game that is seeing an injury problem, having someone that can play that many minutes efficiently, effectively, and injury-free is a rare commodity nowadays. And that needs to be applauded. And it's an essential skill nowadays to not be able to get injured. So I think having someone that we can trust to not get injuries, can trust to take on a massive workload and be able to get through it, no matter how tired he is, no matter how he's feeling. It's just a rare commodity nowadays that I think needs to be applauded. His efficiency, as I said, 52% from the field, 53% from two, 42% from three, 81% from the line. Just overall, very efficient hoops. And the basketball IQ, I mean, his basketball IQ is off the charts. He knows how to break down a defender, but he also knows when to cut his losses and dish the ball out. As you saw, 2 assists per game, which for someone taking 15 shots a game at the college level, you don't see too many 2 assist seasons, especially from a forward. Wings always have lower assist numbers just because they're wings, but he isn't going to go out there and get you a 10 assist game. He's not one of those forwards, but he is the type of forward that knows how to make the right read and get the right pass out when the defense collapses on him. Because he has that type of gravity where the defense will collapse on him, and he knows how to get the ball to the open man when 3 guys collapse in on him in the paint. And that stuff like that just really shows how good your IQ is and is very important for especially guys who will be coming off the bench. It's really essential to have very high IQ guys there to be making the right plays in those limited minutes that they're playing. Now, as I always say, with strengths come weaknesses, and some of these hurt, but the biggest one is the athleticism. He's not wowing anyone with his athleticism. There were some games where it seemed like he had a negative vertical, but he's a bruiser. So even if he's not jumping out of the gym, even if he's not burning guys to get to the other end of the court for a fast break, he knows how to play given his limited athleticism. And honestly, if you're not the most athletic guy out there, as long as you know how to play to your strengths, even if athleticism isn't one of them, That's a huge win in and of itself. Another one was 3-point shooting. I know I've been talking about 42% from 3, but it's not the biggest sample size. I don't want to say this is a glaring weakness for him. It's more so the sample size could be bigger, but in the sample size we have, he has performed well. He shot 3.3 threes per game this year, knocked down 42% of them. So it's like the sample size isn't massive, but the sample size we have, he was very efficient with it. So it's one of those where it's like, it's kind of a weakness, but not the biggest weakness. I don't think it's going to be the biggest issue going forward, but it's definitely one of the weakest parts of his offensive repertoire. Another one is his skill set transferability, and that kind of goes with the bottom one, the position change at the next level. He measured in at 6'6.5", and he played power forward for us at Northwestern, and that smaller bruiser power forward has kind of been phased out. Like, the shorter power forwards are kind of a thing of the past. Like, we saw Kenny Lofton Jr. try to do it a few years ago. He had a few good games, but overall the league didn't trust him. And he wasn't really in a position to move up to a 3. He was definitely a true big man, a true stretch 4, sometimes a stretch 5. But with Nick, I think he can move to the 3. I do think he's definitely an undersized 4. That's his calling card. That's his true position. But I think he can slide in well as a 3 in the NBA. But the real question is, are they going to want him to be a shooting guard if he's measuring at 6'6"? And that's kind of where I'm like, I don't really know what his position will be. I don't really know if it will translate well. If they try to make him a shooting guard, I'm not overly confident just because of how much he loves to play in the post. But if he's a small forward, they make him a small forward, I think he can do well. I think he can translate well as a small forward in the NBA. So it's really up to what team drafts him on what position he plays, and what position he plays is really going to dictate how well his skill set transfers to the next level. And the final one is his off-ball ability. It's hard because he was asked to do so much that he never really had to play off-ball, so he never truly developed much off-ball ability, and there's not much off-ball to his game. And like there were games where I would go talk to my friends and I would be like, why is Nick allergic to playing off the ball? But I don't necessarily think that's a fault to him. The Wildcats were really centered around him. They were his team. It was based around his skill set. Get guys around him that can enhance his strengths and diminish his weaknesses. Like, this team was tailor-made to Nick Martinelli. And when you have a team tailor-made to you in that way, you're not always going to be asked to play off the ball. I mean, like I said, he was shooting 15 to 16 shots a game. And it was because he was doing it effectively. It's not like he was shooting 15 to 16 and missing them. That would be a different story. But running the offense through Martinelli is what was working for Northwestern. Because it was working so well, there was no reason to experiment with playing Nick off the ball, because playing Nick on the ball was what was working. So I do have some concerns on what an offense would look like without him being the focal point. I'm interested to see if he can be just as effective at the next level without having the ball in his hands, but it's definitely something that I think is one of his biggest weaknesses. Now, do I think this is something that can be worked on? Absolutely. But if we're talking his weaknesses, I do think this is his biggest one. Only time will tell, but now a comparison I saw this morning actually that I think works is Tobias Harris. And let me explain, because it's not the best in my eyes, but it kind of encompasses a lot of Nick's game. They were saying he's like Tobias Harris for the fact of him and Tobias are both small forwards who are inside out scorers. And that I think is true. Both are very inside out when it comes to scoring. Both very much love the mid range game. Both play a very 2000s to early 2010s style of small forward. That guy that can shoot the three if he wants to, but he's going to go and prefer to shoot the mid range. They're going to prefer to back down their defender, do a little post hook, post fade, whatever their go-to move is, but they're not going to be looking to shoot threes like small forwards are today. And in that aspect, I think is an accurate comparison, but it's hard to get a very good, like, concise comparison for Nick because his game is so unorthodox. So I think Tobias Harris is the closest we can get. Now, my thoughts on Nick, I think he's the type of player that you draft in the late second round to take a flyer on. He has the potential to be a valuable role player for a team, whether it be a rebuilding team, contender, doesn't matter. He can definitely be effective for a team if they know how to use him. If they know how to use his strengths and diminish his weaknesses, I mean, it seems kind of redundant, but if you can figure out a role for Nick to play on your team and you tell him what that role is, he will do everything in his power to be the best possible player in the NBA in that role. And that is a valuable player. Like, yes, obviously you need your superstars, you need your stars, but you need those bench players that have a very specific role to your team, know they have a very specific role to your team, and go out and produce effectively to the best of their abilities in that role on that team. And I think Nick is that type of guy. He's the type of guy where you go, hey, we're going to play you 15 minutes a game. I want to see 7 to 10 points out of you per game. I want to see effective scoring. I don't want to see you forcing anything. Get your shots in, keep the lead, maintain the lead for us while everyone rests. That is the type of player Nick is at the next level, in my opinion, right now. And there won't be many guys that are more effective in that role than that. And I think that is something that we're going to need. And not to mention, he's a Chicago area kid. He's a suburbs kid. He's from Glenview. And he stayed in the suburbs to go to college in Evanston. This man loves the Chicago suburbs. He loves being here. This man rides and dies for whatever team takes a chance on him. And I think that is something that the Bulls need. We need more guys that just bleed Bulls red. You get what I'm saying? Like, we just need guys who ride and die for this franchise, that kind of embody what it means to be a Chicago Bull and that type of player that embodies it so well that you look at them and you go, man, I love that player. I love this team. He makes me proud to be a Bulls fan. I think Nick Martinelli can be that guy for the Bulls. And I really hope we take a flyer on him at 56. And I really hope we are the team that can help him reach his full potential. Because if he reaches his full potential, he will be a very fun player for any team to have. And that's my thoughts on Nick Martinelli. Now, with all of this, I want to know, how would you guys feel about having Nicky Buckets in Chicago? Comment amazing or terrible down below. Now, please share, please subscribe. We're trying to reach 1,900 subscribers. We're roughly 70 away, so every subscriber matters. We love having you guys here. We love making content for you guys, and we hope you guys love being here too. Now, thank you for joining me today. This was by far the most fun prospect I've ever made a scouting profile on. I had a blast making this. I hope you guys have fallen in love with Nick the same way I have. I highly, highly encourage you to go watch his tape. Please subscribe. Please like. Every like matters. Every subscriber matters. Like I said, we love having you guys here. Jordan and I have a ton of really fun, really great content for you guys in the coming weeks leading up to the draft. We're still doing GM searches. We're keeping updates and tabs on the coaching search. We're still doing prospect scouting. We've kind of done all of ours for the 4th pick, but we're still doing a few for the 15th pick, and we're doing a lot of scouting for the 38th and 56th pick. So we do not want you to miss any of that. Please subscribe. Please turn noties on so that you don't miss a single update of Bulls news. With that being said, thanks again for joining. As always, see Red Bulls Nation.